Residents also now had options for summer excursions. In 1918, Walter Laidlaw even donated his Lake Simcoe home, the Gables, to provide children and adults with a camp retreat. From post-World War I until as late as 1953, generations of Ward and Cabbagetown residents participated in swimming, hiking, boating, and bonfire activities. A 1920 House publication reported that the camp was attended by
school children, factory hands, salesgirls, truck drivers, printers, newsboys, high school and university students, professional boxers and baseball players, and drifters, as interesting, representative, and promising a group as the ward could produce.
In order to help this diverse population, CNH established a well baby clinic and a milk depot in 1913 that offered free health services, the first advances into public health as they addressed the neighborhood's 20% infant mortality rate. By interceding with city officials, courts, and landlords, they also advocated for the rights of their residents, such as a 1924 case report that outlines how a mother of 6 was released from jail after having stolen 7 milk tickets. In the mainly Anglo-Saxon neighborhood of Cabbagetown, the working class community especially suffered from the effects of the Great Depression and later World War II. In response, CNH moved east in 1929 to 349 Sherbourne Street, where, according to a 1943 annual report,
the husbands of many club members, in spite of large families, joined the forces at the outbreak of war because it would mean security for the family. This had a drastic and somewhat bitter effect on the family concerned.
Social unrest fermented in the 1940s and 50s as evidenced by the rise in gang activity. Teens dropped out of high school to join the workforce, becoming entrenched in the neighborhood trap of poverty. According to a 1959 report, 42% of teenagers at CNH had criminal records or were on probation, figures that were also reflected in the Regent Park and Don District neighborhoods' rates of juvenile delinquency. In one instance, the infamous Riverdale Rumble pitted the self-styled Spadina Spooks and Regent Park Regents against the Working Boys' Home for Toronto. CNH also experienced the episode of the broken pianos, when windows and instruments were destroyed by vandals using club cues and billiard balls. Yet, head worker Helen Sutcliffe and staff opted to work directly with the 100 members of the Cabbagetown Gangs, providing sports, cultural, and leadership clubs that fostered youth leadership skills in a positive direction. As Cabbagetown became more diversified, Central Neighbourhood House adjusted its programming to allow for the changing immigrant demographics. This ranged from the Chinese Women's Club, one of the first CNH adult clubs, to the more recent Somali Women's Group of the 90s. The Italian Women's Club, which originally met once weekly for tea, continues to meet some 20 years later. Members crossing town with their daughters and granddaughters to maintain the tradition of dancing the tarantella. In 1968, children poured out of the Central Neighbourhood House Sherbourne Street location, carrying bricks to solicit funds for building a new home on Ontario Street. While the pace of change in the Regent Park and Cabbagetown neighbourhoods has accelerated, as former executive director Jean Rolls noted in 1971,
the needs haven't changed, but our understanding of how they can be met has matured.